Welcome back to the channel and welcome to part 2 of the MicroCement Hearth / polished concrete. Part 1 was making the base for the hearth, which we've done out of MDF, and then in this video we're going to go through the actual process of applying it and getting it finished and getting it in the fire or the false chimney breast to finish our living room. We built the false chimney breast back in early this year, made out of stud work, plastered. We had the opening for a fire, so we've made it bigger. And then we've got this electric stove that's going to sit on there. So we wanted to keep the theme. And so what we've done, or what I've done, is make an MDF base. And then that's going to sit in there. The carpet will be cut around. And then we also need to cut the skirting boards all the way around just to suit and make it fit. So that's going to be this video, and let's get cracking. I've teamed up with ConcreteLab. Their details are down below, and I'll take you through the products they've sent over to make sure I can get this done as best of my ability. So let's get going. First things first, we have the kit. It arrived yesterday from ConcreteLab, as you can see there, and what we have is 2 sample 1 square metre kits that are good for about, it's a sample kit that's 1 square metres in the mid-grey colour. Within that kit, in each one, you get some primer and 2 bags of MicroCement, and what it simply is just add water. So what we need to do now is I've mixed the primer 3 to 1, and I've got myself a foam roller which we'll use to spread it all around and get it done. Once that's done, we'll need to leave it at least 30 minutes to dry. So I'm going to leave it a bit longer in this instance and come back probably later tonight before putting the first coat on. Once the first coat's on, I spoke to ConcreteLab, who advised that I would be better letting the first coat dry, sanding down as smooth as possible, and then applying the second coat. If you're a bit more experienced, you probably can do the 2 coats sort of one after another and make it work. But because I'm not, never done this before, and we'll see what it turns out like. So what we're going to get done is get the primer applied and let it dry, and then come back later to start mixing this and see what the first coat looks like. So let's get going. So as you can see, we're now, about 2 hours since we did the primer, and it's gone to a nice sealed finish now. So we're ready for the first coat. So what we've got here is the 2 bags of the MicroCement tipped into the bucket that we provided, and then I think you mix this something like 1 to 1. What I'm going to do, just mix it dry because there's 2 bags in there, get it all combined, and then I'll just add water and keep mixing it until you get a creamy consistency, and then we can sort of take it from there, and then we'll look to get going and get putting it on and see how we get on. So I'll probably just get the time lapse going, get the first coat on, and sort of catch up with you guys on how we got on and what any lessons learned, if you like. We'll take it from there. So I'm going to get going, get the time lapse on, and let's see how it turns out. the MicroCement's mixed. Now, bit of a lesson learned. I added too much water to start with, so I've had to dig into another bag. But I think I've got plenty anyway to cover what we were doing. So what we've got is the mixture there. So it's still a little runny, but it's not too bad. It's still quite thick. So we're going to give that a go and see how we get on. And yeah, start spreading it. So let's hope it turns out all right. At least this is the first coat if it goes wrong. And I'll just have to buy some more. So yeah, let's get going and see what we can do. First coat is on. So, dropped a bit of a pickle to start with and made the mixture a bit too runny. So, it made it a bit awkward to, I mean, it made it better for spreading, but for the sides and whatnot, it made it a bit more awkward. However, over time, as it stiffens up, as you're using it, it got easier to work with. So that's a lesson learnt for the second sort of batch. So what we've done, spread it out, and when you've got the trowel on, it's like a graty sound, and we've tried to, well, what I've tried to do is get rid of that, and so it's a sort of solid layer that's been put on the MDF. So I've done that around the edges. I'm not sure if I'm chasing too much perfection on the first coat. I think you can sort of get away with it not being too great on the first coat. So what we're going to do now, let it dry, and I'll probably, we're on Sunday evening, it'll probably be Tuesday when I get the wet and dry paper so I can sand it back, and then we'll be ready for the second coat. I think I might try and get another bag of MicroCement just so we make sure we're covered and I've got enough to actually do the whole thing. So yeah, that's that, and I'll catch you probably in a couple of days time once it's dry, and I'll take you through it. It's Tuesday and it's drying. It's taken a bit longer than I expected, but it's very cold in the garage, and here's what it is, I'm afraid. So I've decided I'm not going to sand it or wet and dry, sort of rub it down. I'm just going to go for it with the second layer. I've got some more now and we can do it. So it's dried pretty well, but as you can see on these edges, so that's the colour it will eventually be. So the green sort of texture, and it's a bit fuzzy now because of the lighting, but it won't be this darker greeny colour eventually, and once it's dry. But what we're going to do now, get the second coat on, mix it a bit drier than the first coat, and it should be better for applying, and a better finish hopefully, because this coat needs to be the one, needs to be perfect. So on the edges, which is really my only concern. But that's sort of the finish it's currently got, and I'm not anticipating that these will be on show when we get the second coat on. So that's why I'm just kind of committing. The first coat went down pretty well and pretty flat, so I think we can get away with it, and then we'll rub down the second coat in probably 2 or 3 days time to the finished step, and then we can go on to the ceiling and take it from there. So let's get going, get the second coat on, and see how it turns out. Second coat is on, and a bit harder this time round, and I think it's because it's probably a bit warmer in here and the mixture I did a bit drier than the first time round, which probably made it harder. But I'm hoping once it's set, because it's drying really fast as well compared to the first time round, but I'm hoping once we're set, it's rubbed down with wet and dry paper, we should be very close, and yeah, it don't look too bad. And all we can do now is let it dry and see what it looks like. So again, like last time, we'll leave it a couple of days, see how it is, and then we'll look to get sanding it down ahead of sealing it. So you'll catch me probably another 2 days, so maybe Thursday. We're on Tuesday now, so Thursday or Friday we'll have a look at it again and see where we're at. Layer 3 is on. So yesterday I weren't too impressed with the finish that I sort of managed. I do, as I've said, I think that coat was a bit too dry. So what I've done is kind of treat it like a self-level and put a really thin sort of topping coat on, just to get some more, to get it a lot smoother. Things like this is a case of it is what it is and can be rubbed down, but that ultimately is probably as smooth as I want it to be, or need it to be, before sanding. So it's Wednesday now. I'm still waiting for the wet and dry paper, which I've ordered, and hopefully we can get it smooth. We don't mind a bit of texture because it's a case of it's concrete, it is what it is, and we want it to have that sort of authentic feel. But yeah, so just thought I'd cover this because if you're going to try it yourself, you may come across the third coat was needed just to smooth it off. So yeah, it is what it is, and I thought I would cover it. Now, as you can see there, that's going to be the final colour. So a nice grey finish. So yeah, so we'll leave it another day or two, and then we can look to get it sanded and sealed and see what it looks like. Day 5 of the process, and we're pretty dry, or dry to touch. It's definitely not dry yet, but I think we're in a good position now to probably look to wet sand it down, try and get rid of any ridges and rough edges, and then we can then look to seal it and complete it. So that's what I'm going to do now, get it wet sanded down using an orbital sander. I'm going to start at 120 grit, see how we get down, wet it all first, and then see how we get on, and then look to smoothing it out with, I think I've got 240 grit wet and dry paper. So yeah, we'll see how it turns out, get the time lapse going, and hopefully it turns out well. just like that, it's done. So sanded down, we've used the orbital sander here with, I started on, I think it was 120 grit, and then we've upped it to 240 grit. So the 240 sort of took any, it's hard to, let me zoom in, get it focused. Well, it's not wanting to focus, but so we used the 240 to get rid of all the sort of rough edges, if you like. So all the way down this edge was all over the place. So we flattened it down with the 240, same down here, and then we've gone over it with the, flattened it with the 120, then went over it with the 240, just to take out any rough marks from the 120, and then yeah, smooth it out. And then now we just need to let it dry. It's obviously a really dark colour at the moment, so we'll let this dry now, and we're ready for sealing then. So I need to do a bit of research on the sealing, because it's not a straightforward process with the stuff I've got. ConcreteLab have given me the stuff, and they're going to assist me with that. So when I know more about that, we'll follow it up. But yeah, turned out really well, and as you can see, nice crisp lines everywhere. And it's not perfect, don't get me wrong. So we've got stuff like this here, but I actually quite like that. And then we've got the same sort of thing here, like that. But it sort of is the whole patina of the concrete. So yeah, really happy with it. We'll let it dry Thursday night. So probably by Saturday it'll be final wipe down is done. So bit of a recap, we sanded, well, we've put 3 layers in total on of MicroCement, 2 fairly runny ones and then a drier one in the middle. Whether that's right or wrong, it is what it is, but the finish I'm actually really happy with. We've done, I've sanded it down, starting with 120 grit, working my way up to 240 grit, and then that's give us the crisp sort of edges here and on this corner. We've kept, let's see if we can focus now, we've kept the bit of the rusticness, so obviously it weren't intentional, but I actually quite like it. And then on the top, we've got various textures. It's not this dark, it's just because it's a bit damp because I've wiped it down, but there's smooth areas and then there's rougher, which again, it's concrete at the end of the day, or cement, and I quite like the finish. So what I'm going to do now is leave this video here, so that'll be part 2 of the MicroCement Hearth, and then we will go into part 3 next week, which will be applying the sealer and seeing what it turns out like, and getting it fitted and getting it all the skirting boards in and neat around it. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one, and the series of using MicroCement. It's something I may do more of in the future, but yeah, so thank you for watching. Please give it a thumbs up if you have enjoyed it, and please make sure you subscribe for more videos of this nature coming up. And please make sure you check out the_DIY_journey over on Instagram for more day-to-day updates of what I'm up to around the house. So thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.